Paranormal podcast contains content that might not be suitable for some listeners. Listener discretion is advised. This is Paranormal Podcast. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Paranorm, the podcast where we chat all things true crime and paranormal. I'm Emily.
I'm Sierra.
And we are barely hanging the fuck in there, man. This week just fits like right along with that. We are talking about some crazy shit.
Mm-hmm.
So before we do, I'm gonna ask you how you are, even though I know how you are, because today has been a day.
Well, it started off pretty good.
Sure.
Mag snuggles.
Oh yeah, that's true. I was not here for that, so
that's why I had Mag snuggles.
Yeah.
So I had Mag snuggles for about an hour and a half.
And I was at work.
And
dying.
So that was pretty great. And then we looked at a house.
Oh yeah, we did do that. We found a house. We are moving, and guys, let me just say that it is on the same road as a fucking cemetery. How wonderful is that? Like, you literally turn down the road, and the first thing you see is a cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
It's wonderful. Oh, and big news. I know I'm completely cutting you off, but that's usual. That's how that's the vibe we ride. We have a new roomie.
Yes.
Her name is Chloe, and she is so cute, so nice. She's gonna be a real good fit. Maybe we can talk her into like saying hi, when we get situated. But yeah, it's super great. There's gonna be 3 of us, which scary thought, but yeah. So we found a house. It's cute. It's green. Green is my favorite color. It's like sage green. Let's see what else. Oh, the major headline of the day. The one and only thing that I give Sierra shit about. Literally the only thing I get to just like hold over Sierra that doesn't usually happen to me, or like doesn't usually, what's the word I'm looking for? When things go wrong, it's not one of the things that go wrong in my little world.
Right.
Why don't you tell them, Sierra? What happened today?
So I was returning some mismatched lids that we bought at Target.
For some like tubs, like moving tubs.
Yeah, so we had these plastic tubs and somebody grabbed the wrong lids.
That somebody would be me.
For the tub. So I had to return those to the Target. And as I was like leaving, I was like, the car was not going great. I was like,
granted, the car has not been going great since Sierra got the car.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
It really hasn't. But it was for free, and it was very generously given to me, so I am not going to complain about that part. And so I was like, it kind of acted like it was like running out of gas, which I didn't have like a ton of gas. I was like, okay, I'll just go get gas and it'll be fine, and I'll go on home. So I get gas, and I am like maybe like 2 miles, 2 or 3, yeah, somewhere around there, 2 miles from home. And all of a sudden the car just like starts jerking, and I go over this hill and it just shuts off while I'm driving. And then it's like I lose. So obviously if it shuts off, there's no power steering, there's like, anything. Luckily the brakes still work, so yes. There is that. So I like put on my hazards lights because there's like one car like kind of behind me. There's like this gravel like parking lot for like a business up ahead. I was like, I'll just pull over there. I'm like
coasting down this hill.
Coasting down the hill. I'm trying not to run into anything, and like trying to turn off the road because there's no like power steering or anything like that. And the car is not even running, it's just going. And so
it's just fucking coasting.
And so I get into the parking lot and pull over. There's like nobody around. And I shut it off, and it just like, and I'm just like, oh great.
And then that's where I come in. I had just left one of my visits, and I get literally just left, like not even full 2 minutes out of the people's driveway. And I get a phone call, and Sierra goes, "So my car died." I was like, "Okay, where are you?" And she's like trying to explain where she is.
Like, remember that one time we went to self-defense class? Right by there.
Yeah. So, we're trying to decide what to do, and finally it comes to the conclusion that I need to run by the house, get some water for her car because it might be overheating. We don't know.
It likes to do that.
It does. It likes to do that. She pulled in the driveway the other day with it smoking. So yeah, so I go and get water, and then I meet her. Well, actually, I passed by her because I couldn't see her. And then I find her, and we waited for what? How long were you there? Because I had to go back to work.
So I got there, like, you got to me pretty quickly. So
Yeah.
I think was stuck there around like maybe 2:20.
Yeah.
2:15, and then you came and we brought the water and we poured it in there and it all just ran right back out.
Yeah, that was great.
I was like, oh, okay, great.
She tried to start it. It made a really scary noise.
Yeah, and then it started smoking again. I was like, okay, we're not doing that again. And then you had to go.
I had to go back to work.
You had to go back to work at 2:30, and Bill and Dottie came.
My lovely parentals to the rescue.
Yeah, and they came, and well, by the time before they got there, you were back from your visit.
Yeah.
And so they came, and Bill looked at it, and he was like, well, it's the water pump, and
which is not cheap to replace. We called like 6-7 different places, and nobody was open. And then the one people that were open were like, it's gonna be $580.
And I'm just like.
And then my stepdad, who usually fixes everything for us, like, is
seriously.
Like, seriously, like, you guys don't even know, he fixes literally everything for us. He's like, I could do it, but like, it's gonna take like a long weekend. I don't have anything to lift your car up. It was a whole situation. So, needless to say, Sierra was in this parking lot for no less than 2 hours. Finally got home, and then I decided, because I make decisions pretty quickly. I was like, we need to go have dinner and just not talk about real life for a little bit. So we went and had some Mexican food. But that would be why we're recording so late, and that's why I am going to just be fucking exhausted. So I get to be Sierra's chauffeur for a little while, which is totally fine because she definitely would do the same thing for me. But yeah, so that's what's going on in our world.
Fun times.
Yep, fun times. Okay, to get started, this week we are talking about a major, totally absurd, completely dangerous conspiracy theory known as Qanon. And I don't give two fucks if I'm not saying that right. Now, before we get like fully into this, I want to make it very clear that I do not, Sierra does not, have not, and will not ever believe in this absolute bullshit being spewed. It's a far-right conspiracy theory that people with literally no factual evidence have been, sharing with one another. With that being said, I am here to talk about conspiracy theories. That's my shit.
Yep.
To shine some light on, everything that's going on, the people, and, what the other side seems to think sometimes. And why voting is so important. Just a reminder, because I do know we have some, listeners in Georgia. Guys, you need to vote in the congressional runoff election on January 5th, 2021. Okay? It's really, 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 really important. So, my sources, there's a lot of them. So, I'm going to just list a few, which were Wikipedia, BBC, ABC, NBC, foreignpolicy.com, The Washington Post, Reddit, obviously. You will see why later. And CBS News, to name a few. All of them will be listed on the blog per usual. But, are you ready for this? Oh, I don't even think I said it yet. This is going to be our first two-parter.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so I honestly don't remember where I cut myself off, so we're all in this together. And yeah, I felt like we needed to make this a two-parter just because how much information there is, and I don't feel like I should probably talk for 4 hours straight about this.
No.
So that's just me. But anyway, the conspiracy theory has been widely characterized as baseless, unhinged, and evidence-free. Super cute.
I mean, the extremists live their life like that, though. So.
Yeah, pretty much. Its proponents have been called, quote, a deranged conspiracy theory cult, end quote. And, quote, some of the internet's most outre Trump fans, end quote.
Well, there is that.
There is that. The theory is decimated and mainly by supporters of Trump who refer to the storm and the Great Awakening. We will get into what that means in a little bit. QAnon's precepts and vocabulary are closely related to that of like a religious concepts, and like of like apocalyptic kind of cults and doomsday cults, you know, the end all be all kind of thing, leading it to be construed as an emerging religious movement, which again will make sense in a little bit.
Okay.
QAnon's is it adherents? Adherence. I just like, I hate when you read a word for so long and you're like, oh, that's what that sounds like, and then you're like, the fuck it is. Like, did I ever tell you that when the first time I read the word chaos, I thought the CH was more pronounced? Like chouse.
Oh, no, I didn't know.
Yeah, like for a really long time. So, but anyway. Okay, anyway, QAnons believe that Trump...
So is that like the name of their group?
Yes.
Okay. That's the name of the, like...
I will get into it.
Oh, okay. Hold all questions to the end, thank you.
They see Trump as flawed as, like, you know, like most Christians, but they also view him as a messiah sent by God. Followers of QAnon also believe that there's an imminent event known as the storm, when thousands of members of the cable will be arrested and possibly sent to Guantanamo prison, like Guantanamo Bay, you know, or to face military tribunals, and the U.S. military will brutally take over the country. The result will be salvation and utopia on Earth. That is the theory itself, like, now. There's a lot more that, like, a lot more little pieces that I'll talk about, that go into it, but that's, like, the founding.
Like, that's why it started. They believe this thing. No. It's the founding philosophy of them?
No, it's, that was the wrong word to use, founding. And not, that's, like, the core belief as of right now. This is not how it started. This, as of right now. This is the core principle that they're holding on to.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, for a little background on this whole shit, on October 30th, 2016, a Twitter account posting white supremacist material, which said it was run by a New York lawyer, falsely claimed that the New York City Police Department had discovered a pedophilia ring linked to members of the Democratic Party while searching through Anthony, is it Weiner or Weiner?
Probably Weiner.
Weiner. He's a dick anyway. He, like, cheated on his wife. It's a whole thing. We're gonna call him Weiner. Emails. Throughout October, he did. He cheated on his wife.
I believe you.
And, like, multiple times and sent dick pics to people, so.
That's always annoying. Don't do it.
Oh my god, it's so fucking annoying.
Just don't do it, okay?
Really, please don't.
Please.
I'm sick of them. So, throughout October and November of 2016, WikiLeaks had published John Podesta's emails. Proponents of the theory read the emails and alleged that they contained code words for a pedophile ring and human trafficking. Now, Sierra is, like, involved in, like, anti-human trafficking things. So we're not saying that this does not happen.
Absolutely not.
Yes. Human trafficking is a really big problem in the United States and in the entire world. However, this is too much. You know? Does that make sense?
I haven't really heard it yet, so I don't really.
Well, what I told you in the car about it earlier. So
Yeah.
Anyway, I just wanted to make that clear. Like, we know that human trafficking is a thing, but yes. So proponents also claim that this is it. That Comet Ping Pong, a pizzeria in Washington D.C., was a meeting ground for satanic ritual abuse. The story was later posted on fake news websites, starting with Yower Newswire, which cited a 4chan post from earlier that year. I totally said Yower and it's Your Newswire. I told you, I'm tired. The Your Newswire article also was spread by pro-Trump websites, including subjectpolitics.com, which added the claim that the NYPD had raided Hillary Clinton's property, and the conservative Daily Post ran a headline claiming that the FBI had confirmed the theory. All of which are false.
Right.
In the most basic sense, an anon, so here's where the name comes from, is an anonymous or pseudonym internet poster. The concept of anons, quote, doing research and claiming to disclose otherwise classified information is a key component in the QAnon conspiracy theory. It is by no means exclusive to it, though. Before Q, a number of so-called anons also claimed to have special government access. Now, Q is a specific anonymous poster that just goes by Q.
Oh, okay.
On July 2nd, 2016, the anonymous poster, called FBI Anon, a self-described, quote, high-level analyst and strategist who claimed to have had intimate knowledge on the inner workings of the Clinton case, began posting lies about the 2016 investigation into the Clinton Foundation and claimed that Hillary Clinton would be imprisoned if Trump became president. Around that time, another Anon poster who went by HLI Anon, standing for High Level Insider Anon, hosted a long question and answer sessions dispensing various conspiracy theories, including that Princess Diana was murdered after trying to stop the September 11 attacks. Yeah. Soon after the 2016 United States election, two anonymous posters called CIA Anon and CIA Intern falsely claimed to be high-ranking CIA officers in late August of 2017, another anonymous poster who went by WH Insider Anon, which is White House, offered a supposed preview that something, quote, was going to go down, end quote, regarding the leaks that would affect the Democratic Party. And from here, no other way to put it, it spread like fucking wildfire. Because of, 5 or 6 different anonymous posters? It got big. The spreading started to, organize. And it started, organizing into a group that started with a user named Q Clearance Patriot that first appeared on a board of 4chan on October 28th, 2017. And I've told you about 4chan before. It's where, and we watched that documentary on it where, all that shit goes down. It's where the racists congregate. They posted a thread titled, quote, Calm Before the Storm, a reference to Trump's cryptic description of a gathering of United States military leaders he attended, as the tweet said, the calm before the storm. This, quote, storm, became QAnon, favorite phrase for an imminent event which thousands of alleged suspects will be arrested, imprisoned, and executed for being child-eating pedophiles. The poster's username implied they hold a Q clearance, a United States Department of Energy security clearance required to access top-secret information on nuclear weapons and materials. An internet community soon developed around and interpreting and analyzing posts attributed to Q. And among these conspiracy theorists, several individuals became minor celebrities within the community. So we're going to talk about these minor celebrities now.
That's all we need.
Yes. In November 2017, Paula Ferber, Coleman Rogers, and Tracy Diaz, two 4chan moderators and a small-time YouTube creator, respectively, worked together to propagate QAnon to a wider audience. Some of the QAnon followers have accused the trio of profiting off the movement, which they definitely have.
I mean, that's the whole point of making it bigger, right?
Exactly. The three then created a Reddit community that was influential in spreading the theory until they were banned and the subreddit was closed in March 2018, which Reddit explained was due to the incitement of violence and posting private information. Which a lot of times what they'll do, they'll kind of like release the private information, which is doxing, and that's where they release like a whole bunch of people's private information, like their phone numbers, their address, their email stuff, like everything gets released. And people will end up like swatting the house, which is where you call the police and say, I just saw so and so with a gun in their house, or like there's like 3 dudes in this dude's house coming to rob him, or and it makes the police show up with the SWAT team, which is really, really not good and really bad, because we know how police are trigger happy. So that is something that this group is,
That's one of the things that they use.
Yes.
Like strategy.
Yes. QAnon spread to other social media, including Twitter and YouTube. So, Twitter has now, tried to contain it as much as possible, as has Facebook. Like, they are trying and actively deleting it. They are not doing as good a job as they should be, but they are at least, aware there is a problem. How much they're doing to solve it is up for debate.
Well, I mean, they have ties.
Sorry, guys, there's a helicopter going by. Okay. I just wanted to say hi, that's all.
That could be one of them.
I mean, we were already talking about this earlier with Bill. The search history on my phone alone is sketch.
Yeah.
So, back to this. Rogers and his wife, Christina Urso, launched Patriot Soapbox, a YouTube live stream dedicated to the theory, which they used to solicit donations. Its guests have included congressional candidate Lauren Boebert and a Trump campaign publicist. Post by Q later moved to 8chan, with Q citing concerns that 4chan board had been infiltrated. After 8chan was shut down in August 2019, it was connected with the 2019 El Paso shooting and other violent incidents. Members of QAnon moved to Inchan and 8chan. I don't really know what the fuck those are. They can't be any good. So QAnon first received attention from mainstream press in December 2017, and in the early months of 2018, the conspiracy theory received traction from the mainstream right, obviously. Television host Sean Hannity, also known as Actual Scum, and entertainer Roseanne Barr, also scum, spread news about QAnon on their social media, to their social media followers. InfoWars host and far-right conspiracy theorist Alex Jones. Guess what, Skira? He's also scum. He claimed to be in personal contact with Q, the presence in mass of QAnon members at a July 2018 Trump rally for the midterm elections in Tampa, Tampa, Florida, obviously, marked the conspiracy theory's entry into the mainstream. It was one of the, at the time, the largest gathering of QAnon supporters and members that had, like, ever been seen. Sites dedicated to aggregating these Q posts, also called Q drops, became essential for their dissemination and spread. QMap was the most popular and famous aggregator run by an anonymous developer and overall key QAnon figure known as, oh god, these Q things are going to kill me. QAnon? Sure, we'll say that. But QMap shut down shortly after a September 2020 report was published by a fact-checking website, Logically. Yeah. Which theorized that the anonymous developer was a New Jersey-based security analyst named Jason Gellianis. I don't really care about getting these white supremacist names right, in case you haven't noticed. Between March and June of 2020, during COVID-19 pandemic that we are still in, QAnon activity nearly tripled on Facebook and nearly doubled on Instagram and also Twitter. By that time, QAnon had spread to Europe. Fantastic. Super fun, super cute. From the Netherlands to the Balkan Peninsula, but especially Germany. Are we surprised? Is the question. Far-right activists and influencers, also the fact that I just said far-right activist, I can't. And influencers have created a German audience for QAnon on YouTube and Facebook. The Telegram estimated 200,000
people.
Yes. One German group adopted QAnon to promote its belief that modern Germany is not a sovereign republic, but rather a corporation created by the Allied nations after World War II, and expressed its hope that Trump would lead an army to restore the Reich. Many Canadians have also propagated the theory, and 1 in 4 Britons are said to believe the QAnon-related theories.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So with that being said, what do these people do with this ridiculous group? Well, like all ridiculous groups, they instill fear by making predictions, and here are some of their false predictions that have been fact-checked.
Okay.
Multiple times. So the first one is that the, quote, storm would take place on November 3rd, 2017. There was no, events in U.S. politics on that day. Nothing of note. Because I told you what the storm was.
Yeah.
Number 2, a major event involving the Department of Defense would take place on February 1st, 2018. That did not happen. People targeted by the president would commit suicide en masse on February 10th, 2018. No prominent people completed suicide on that day.
Why would they?
I have no idea why. I'm guessing it to, cover up,
they didn't want some people to find out about what they quote unquote had done.
You know how Villanelle and Killing Eve make some of them look like suicides?
Yeah.
That's what they're saying.
Oh. So yeah. It's not really suicide.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Also, season 3 of Killing Eve is on Hulu, and Sierra and I have been watching it, and it's wonderful.
Well,
not really. Eve is so fucking stupid, y'all. Okay, just to get off on a tangent for a second, but Eve is so dumb, guys. How is she that dumb? I don't understand.
And my question is, what's the point in making her that character that dumb?
I have no idea.
You could have written her as more intelligent.
Yeah, seriously. Villanelle is more intelligent.
Yeah, I don't know.
And she's a psycho.
I don't get, what's the point of doing that?
I have no idea. Anyway, okay, so number 4. There would be a car bombing in London around February 16th, 2018. There was no bombing. Number 5, the Trump military parade would, quote, never be forgotten. The parade was canceled. Yeah. Number 6. The Five Eyes won't be like around much longer. It's like a surveillance, central intelligence kind of thing. It's between Australia, Canada, New Zealand, United Kingdom, and the United States. It has not been terminated. Number 7? Sure. Something major would happen in Chongqing on April 10th, 2018. Nothing notable happened on that day. There would be I lost count. 8. Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sierra. Sierra's holding up fingers for me. There would be a bombshell revelation about North Korea in May 2018. Guess what? There were no notable developments. Number 9, a smoking gun video of Hillary Clinton would emerge in March 2018. Guess what? Nothing. Number 10, multiple failed predictions that John McCain would resign from the U.S. Senate were put forth. John McCain did not resign. He sadly died from brain cancer. But he did not resign. Number 11, multiple failed predictions that Mark Zuckerberg would leave Facebook and flee the United States. Wild fact, Mark Zuckerberg remains CEO of Facebook, y'alls. Number 12, multiple failed predictions that Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey would be forced to resign. He remains Twitter CEO. He is one of the people that is like really targeted by far-right conspiracy theories and everything because Twitter, as I've told you, has been putting warnings on Trump's tweets because he alludes to false information. He spreads false information, and most of the time he's downright nasty.
Yeah.
So that 100% violates Twitter's, guidelines.
Right.
So Jack Dorsey, has been a target of like streams of hate from this group and from most far right
people in general.
Yes. Number 13? Sure. Multiple failed predictions that, quote, something big would happen or the truth would emerge next week.
Well, technically next week is never here, so.
Yeah, exactly, Sierra. So, as well as the failed predictions, Q has posted numerous false, baseless, and unsubstantiated claims. So, we're going to go with those claims now. That the CIA, we're going to get there soon, installed North Korean leader Kim Jong-un as a puppet ruler. A February 16, 2018 false claim that the U.S. representative and former Democratic National Committee chairwoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz hired Salvadorian gang MS-13s to murder DNC staffer Seth Rich. Also, a March 1st, 2018 apparent suggestion that German Chancellor Angela Merkel is Adolf Hitler's granddaughter. She's not. On July 7th, 2018, Daily Beast article noted that Q falsely claimed that, quote, each mass shooting is a false flag or attack organized by the Cable, which the Cable is what they call the Democrat cult of Satanists, pedophiles.
Oh.
So.
That's a weird
sentence that I just...
That's a weird word, like...
Yes. Another plane coming to say hi. I wonder where all... I'm like really freaked out now. What time is it? 9:44? And we've had so many come by. Okay, anyway. Now, who is in this cable, you might ask? That would be Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, George Soros, and others are planning to, against Trump, and are planning a coup against Trump and are involved in an international child sex trafficking ring. Another one is that the Mueller investigation is actually a counter coup led by Trump, who pretended to conspire with Russia in order to hire Mueller to secretly investigate the Democrats. Yeah.
It's all coming together now.
Oh yeah, we got more. So they also claimed that certain Hollywood stars are pedophiles. Chrissy Teigen had to like one, she had to disable her Twitter because she was getting so much hate from this group. Two, she had to make a public statement about it. This is a woman that has 2 small children. Like, she just had a miscarriage a month and a half ago, and this group is attacking her, saying that she is a child molester. And
well, she probably has to prove to them that it was a miscarriage, or else.
Oh yeah. So it's just fucking wild, like.
Yeah.
So,
like, how do people like even come up with like who it is? Like,
I feel like they just like Chrissy Teigen's really outspoken about Trump. So I feel like it's anybody that they feel is like saying too much or being a bit too loud or being a bit too aggressive, and they're like, let's take this bitch down a tone. But they think that the Rothschild family, which is a really rich family, leads the satanic cult. Similar political allegations and rumors have circulated since the 1970s about the Rothschilds and about like Hollywood satanic sex trafficking cults. Typically, the allegations revolved around investigators using existing satanic cults to lure and blackmail left-wing activists, or in the case of the Franklin child prostitution ring allegations, satanic sexual abuse perpetrated by elite Republicans. A significant difference between like the older narratives and the QAnon narrative of today is that now elite Democrats are considered the villains instead of the Republicans. So, with that being said, the whole thing that started around like 1970s that really ties into like satanic panic of like the 80s, and everything had to do with like, oh, it was a satanic sacrifice, or like she was seen wearing a red miniskirt, so she must be a Satanist. Like anything that does not fit within the norm, it is Satan. It's Satan. So
you give him too much credit, guys.
Basically, really. Yes, seriously. Q's posts have become more and more cryptic and vague, allowing followers to map their own beliefs onto them. Some posts include strings of characters that are allegedly coded messages. By generating a keyboard heat map of Q's supposedly coded messages, information security researcher Mark Burnett concluded that they are, quote, are not actual codes, just random typing by someone who might be playing an instrument and is using the QWERTY keyboard.
Oh my goodness.
End quote, adding that almost all the characters in the codes alternate between the left and right hands or are close enough to each other on the keyboard. End quote. So, like, they're basically just keyboard smashing.
Nice.
Yeah. So
like how I play the piano.
Pretty much. So, like me, you must be thinking, well, surely people would have realized the sheer absurdity of it all, and with this many false claims, you would be so wrong, though. So wrong. I mean, how many false claims and predictions did I just list earlier? 20-something? Because like I just said, they have been more and more vague, so they could like abstractly be molded to fit anything that they think slightly aligns with what they were stated, like what was stated. Cookie. Yes. Like stated along that route, like to guide the false predictions, they outright dismiss the false claims as false and incorrect. The predictions are like not as deliberate anymore, claiming that, quote, disinformation is necessary. So, like, they are saying they put this false information in there. And they go on to say that they do so to weed out, like, the imposters, you know?
Yeah. They only want hardcore.
Pretty much. Hardcore racists.
They have a very narrow group of people that they...
And I know I keep saying racist, but we have not gotten into the part where, like, they're being racist,
Mhm.
except for the fact that, they're like trying to establish the Third Reich again, no big deal.
I think it's kind of like it's kind of interesting that they tried to bring so much Germany into it. It's kind of like,
well, that's where the Nazi group originated.
I get that. But I'm just like, you gotta like, well, I guess it's the same as here. Like, you're gonna like drag a whole country through that like again when most of the country is not
Well, I mean, look at who voted for who in this election. What, there was like 69 million votes?
Yeah.
For someone who wouldn't even discredit fucking white supremacist?
Yeah.
So, I mean, how, it doesn't, at this point, it does not surprise me.
Yeah.
69 plus million people voted for someone like that who told white supremacists to stand back and stand by. Yeah, I'm gonna have to say this isn't surprising at this point, Anyway, so the fact that QAnon is like claiming that the disinformation is necessary, this has led Australian psychologist Stephen Lewandowski to emphasize that the self-sealing quality of the conspiracy theory, highlighting that its anonymous purveyor's use of plausible deniability and noting that evidence against the theory can, quote, become evidence of its validity in the minds of the believers. Author Walter Kim has described Q as an innovator among conspiracy theorists by enthralling readers with clues rather than presenting claims directly. The audience for the internet narratives doesn't want to read, it wants to write. It doesn't want answers provided, it wants to search for them. Which makes sense to a certain degree.
Yeah. I mean, it keeps it interesting.
Yes, exactly.
For sure. And people get to make it what they want it to be instead of like what the person is directly saying it is.
Yeah. So these people not only believe that there's a secret satanic cult of Democrats, they also believe in things like I can't believe I'm gonna say this. This is not true. Please don't try it. They believe that drinking industrial bleach known as MMS or miracle mineral solution as a miracle cure for COVID-19.
I mean, go for it.
Please don't. For legal reasons.
No,
please don't.
Just them. I mean, come on. Like, bleach is not good for you anyway, in any way.
Yeah.
So, like, that doesn't even make sense.
Yeah. So they also have tried taking over something that I stated Sierra is, involved in, and that is like the Save the Children anti-human trafficking organization. And it started with the Pizzagate, which is about the pizza place in Washington, D.C. That does not have a basement. QAnon followers believe that children are being abducted in large numbers to supply the human trafficking ring. By 2020, some followers began using the Twitter hashtag Save the Children, taking it from the actual trademark name of a child welfare organization, Save the Children, leading to an August 7th statement by Save the Children, the actual one, on the unauthorized use of its name in campaigns. This is separate. Data from the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children indicates that the overwhelming majority of missing children are runaways. The second largest cause is abduction by family members. Less than 1% are abductions by non-family members.
Yeah, okay.
So,
that tracks.
Yes. In September, Facebook and Instagram tried to prevent hashtag Save the Children from being associated with QAnon by redirecting users who search for the hashtag towards the child welfare group. They did something. It's the bare minimum, but they did something. In October, Facebook announced that it would try to limit the hashtag's reach. So, similarly, how do you fuck you
similarly?
say that? Also, Freedom for the Children groups, both in the US and the UK, helped organize street protests that they say are raising awareness of child sexual abuse and human trafficking. These protests tend to attract more diverse and younger crowd than the typical QAnon groups, including many people who do not fully believe in all aspects of QAnon conspiracy theory and have often been able to avoid social media restrictions by using this kind of route/direction.
Yeah.
The anonymous identity known as Q is likely controlled by multiple people in a corporation, in cooperation. Yeah, cooperation. Thank you. By design, anonymous image boards such as 4chan and 8chan obscure the posters' identities, but those who wish to prove a constant identity between posts while remaining anonymous can choose to use a trip code. Also, I have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about at this point, so please no questions. Which associates a post with a unique digital signature for any poster who knows the password. There have been thousands of posts associated with the Q trip code known as Q drops, as I stated before.
So basically, it's an identity for the poster without using the identity. So only certain people can. So, like, say you wanted to track all the posts for one user. If you had the password to get the trip code, then you could trace the trip code for all of their posts.
Oh, okay.
But it's only if you have the password to gain access to the trip code.
Okay.
So, without the trip code, you can't tell if all the posts are by a certain person because of how they have it.
All right.
Because it's all.
I follow, but I'm not 100% sure.
If it's all anonymous, you don't know which anonymous person is which.
Yeah.
The first one and the third one could be the same person. But if you have the trip code, you can say it's basically giving each anonymous person their own individual identity.
Okay.
So, say you post something anonymous, then I post something anonymous. Your trip code could be 1001. My trip code could be 1002. So I could look for all the posts with the trip code 1002, and I could see all the things that I posted anonymously. And if I look for a trip code 1001, I could see all the things.
I'm hoping you guys understand this, because the way I feel like I'm looking at Sierra right now, I have no idea. Guys, I don't even know how to print stuff.
It's the way to assign someone a secret name that not everybody can find.
Okay, that I get. That I understand. So, passwords on 8chan are also notoriously easy to crack. And the Q trip code has been repeatedly compromised and used by people pretending to be Q. When 8chan returned as 8kun in November, in November 2019, after several months of downtime, the Q posting on 8kun posted photos of a pen and a notebook that had been pictured in an earlier 8chan post to show the continuation of the Q identity and continue to use Q's 8chan trip code. So, this is where I'm stopping, because the next paragraph we get into the possibilities of who Q could be, and I feel like we just need to cut off there because this is a good point. Now, I know this was a whole bunch of technical stuff at the end. I apologize, but not really, because it's really interesting. So that's what I have for you guys right now. I don't have a joke. Again, 2 weeks in a row, I know.
Oh, gosh,
I know. So rude. So rude. But yeah, that's what I have for you guys. This whole conspiracy theory really weirds me the fuck out. It makes me super anxious. That, like, people are this dumb. Also this fucking bold.
Yeah, it's a very interesting sociological study, I would say.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I definitely think, I definitely know, I know this, like, to be true, that there are human trafficking organizations.
Oh, yeah.
110%. But do I think that it's a human trafficking organization run by elite Democrats who also worship Satan, run out of a pizza place,
quote unquote basement.
quote unquote basement. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
That's
I feel like it's too specific of information.
it's so specific it's not specific, you know?
Yeah. I get that. And I'm just like, does it really matter whether they're Republican or Democrat? Like,
Yeah, people are terrible all the way
if it's a
around.
human trafficking ring, no matter who it is, like,
Yeah.
it doesn't need to exist.
Yes, exactly.
And just because it's a satanic cult doesn't mean that it's, you know, just because you don't agree with it doesn't make it evil or bad in and of itself.
Exactly. Satanists don't even do human sacrifices anymore. Like,
so
come on, y'all.
I mean, you know, you're playing into
tropes and stereotypes and delusions and
religion
and
religious
like
tradition and just like fear that is, I mean, unfounded if you're actually like, you know,
religious.
The problem is about it is religion. Religion is man-made. So
yes.
So I mean, anybody who considers themselves to be quote unquote religious in that context, like, you can be any type of person and be religious.
Yes, and as Sierra and I have experienced this past week, there's quite a few that are very hateful in the name of their very misconstrued, very type 1 branch of religiousness.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Did that make sense? Okay.
I mean, I understand the context, so I understand where you're coming from. I mean, people use religion as a tool, or they use it as a excuse, or they use it as to give them the right to do something.
Yes.
Justify their actions based on a man-made context or structure.
Also, I just want to make this very clear. Sierra's not being hateful in this way. She is 110%. What's the right word to use here?
I don't know.
I don't want it to come off as like we are not calling out Christians. We are not calling out any one specific religious group.
No.
We are just saying that it is being twisted into something that it does not need to be.
Right.
Sierra herself is religious, so we are not like saying like any one group is bad or like that all religious groups are hateful, you know?
Right, because it depends. It like I wouldn't actually consider myself to be religious in the sense that I know how bad of a connotation that word has.
Yes.
So I like to stay away from that because that's not how my relationship with God works. It's not what you would normally traditionally call religious. So that's why I'm saying it in the context that I'm saying it, for you guys just to know. And
Sierra and myself, have very vastly different viewpoints on this, and we've talked about this. But like, it's the fact that people use that in like such a way to fuel their hate and to fuel their groups and to fuel their white supremacy, and it doesn't have a place for people who say that they are religious.
Right. It's very disrespectful and just kind of, it really puts us in a bad spot.
As someone who's not even religious, like doesn't have myself, who doesn't have that, like, I find that disrespectful in its own way, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, off on our little tangent again. I hope you guys have a great week. Sierra's gonna have a good week because I'm gonna be her chauffeur. So yeah, as if we don't spend enough time together already.
Well, I think we'll be all right.
I think so.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, and I know a lot of you guys know that just not being able to transport yourself is just it's just not great.
It's the fucking worst.
It's just not great. And like in the, it's a little bit different if you live somewhere where public transportation is easily accessible.
Yeah.
And, relatively inexpensive, but there's like no public transportation here.
Yeah. And I know exactly what Sierra is talking about because I had hip surgery and was out of commission for like 6 months and had to be toted around everywhere. And I fucking hated it. And Sierra's car died and she gets to be toted around for a little bit. So
yeah, it's like there's nothing I can do about it,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's just, it is what it is, and we're gonna move on to bigger and better things, and we're gonna
a nicer car that does not die.
we're gonna we'll be fine.
Sierra's gonna plug all the things. That's what we're gonna move on to. It's gonna be great. We're gonna be back for part 2 next week. Sierra, plug all the things.
So as we stated earlier, all the resources and places that Emily gets her sources information from will be. I think I said that twice already.
I don't really care.
Anyway, so the sources
You're
will
welcome.
all be listed on the blog. Though usually are pictures that go with everything, and then we put a little description in there so you know what's going on. The blog is at paranormalpodcast.com. There's a little section for blog on there. And then while you're there, if you want to send us a little note, let us know if you have any questions, any theories or like things that people who believe in this conspiracy theory have told you. We would love to hear any comments you have had in experience with other people who believe in this.
Anything you want to add before next week's episode that you would like me to plug
in. So
just
let us know. We're interested just to hear your experience with people who do believe in it, and so you can send us a message on our website, or you can send it to paranormalpodcast@gmail.com. And as always, we're on Facebook and Instagram, so check us out, follow us, share.
Like all the pictures. I haven't really figured out Facebook 100%, so yeah.
Yeah. No,
I did figure out how to look at our followers though, and I was really proud of myself.
Way to go. And then all of our podcast is on pretty much everything. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts.
You guys need to give us a review on Apple Podcasts, guys. We are willing to give you prizes, and you won't even give us a review?
Oh my goodness. Everybody loves a prize, right?
Seriously.
But anyway, yes. So we have those two social media places where you can stay up to date on all things
and
paranorm.
The biggest thing,
we're on Patreon.
We're on Patreon, bitches.
So we are waiting for our first patron.
We are. We say this every fucking week, y'all. I need to hop on here and say, guys, we have a patron. Or guys, we have multiple patrons. Again, we are willing to give you prizes, y'all.
Prizes. Who doesn't like free stuff?
Seriously. I mean, Sierra's car was free, but don't let that give you any indication on what kind of free stuff we're giving.
We have better stuff than that.
But, anyway, we're rambling at this point. It's because we're tired.
Yeah, it's been a day. But you guys
It's been a fucking month.
Well, yeah, there is that too.
All right, guys. We're all going to have a better week because I said so. Actually, not even because I said so, but because Mags said so.
That's right.
Yep. So, all right, guys.
Find out how you can hear more from Mags at Patreon.
Yeah, seriously, guys.
Paranorm Podcast.
Do it. All right. We're going to stop rambling. I'm going to go to bed. It's going to be great. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.